Welcome to Real Talk, ladies and gentlemen. It's Monday night. I want to say a special good night to you viewers of Real Talk in Trinidad and Tobago, up the Caribbean and around the globe. Those of you that are on our page, Real Talk page, like and share as we go live. Those of you on the YouTube page, TT Real Talk, subscribe, hit the bell, and you will know when we go live. Now viewers, this is Real Talk. I'm Saieed Ali, a spiritual consultant and real estate businessman. Remember, for those of you that are having spiritual problems, you can feel free to contact me. You have a property to sell, you have a property to buy, you can also contact me. You lend your friend and your family your hard-earned cash and you cannot get it back. You've tried all your resources, all the sources that you know about, and they still cannot get it back for you. Well, then Real Talk, that collection department, would love to help you out. So give us a call at 339-1670 or 238-6716. Now, viewers, we have a packed show for you tonight. As we start off tonight, we start off with the government of Trinidad and Tobago is adopting measures to prevent the spread of the coronavirus here in Trinidad and Tobago. Late Sunday night, the Ministry of Health revealed that there are now 4 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the country. Earlier today, Prime Minister Dr. Saieed Ali chaired a special cabinet media meeting to address the concerns. In an address to the media, the Prime Minister admitted that we are currently in a crisis.
We are in a crisis. We are in an emergency. There is no gainsaying that. The other point that should be made is that the nature of the crisis is temporary. This virus will eventually settle itself among the human population, and I guess docs may tell you we'll have to live with it going forward.
Now viewers, feel free to call in 238-6716. Let me hear what you have to say. Now, the Prime Minister said that this virus will settle around the world. There is no cure for this virus as yet. How could this virus settle when there are no cure? Now, one cure is too much for Trinidad. One cure. One person infected. My mistake. One person infected with this virus is too much for Trinidad. We are only a population of 1.3, 1.4 million people in Trinidad and Tobago. So one infected person is too much. Just last week, there were 1 case, 2 cases. Today, Monday, there's 4 cases. So coming out in the media and telling the public that this virus will settle among the humans, it's not right. It is not right. I would say it is not right, because when you look around the world, cases are going up. People are dying. In Italy, it's about over 400 or 500 people died. So they want to use Italy as a proper healthcare country. A proper healthcare country is over 500 people died with this same virus. The COVID-19 virus. So don't tell the population that the virus will settle among us. It's better to come out and say, Trinidad and Tobagonians, we are in a crisis. We are hoping that some good thing will come out of the crisis. Probably the virus, we would get a cure for this, an antidote. But don't say it will settle among the humans. You're making a mistake, because right around the world, people are dying with the same thing. With this very same thing. In an address to the media, the Prime Minister admits that we are currently in a crisis. But you're telling the people that the virus would settle down. It ain't no settling for this. I ain't here to put no sugar in no tea and sweeten it. As a result, the government has taken into consideration a number of measures. As of midnight tomorrow, that is Tuesday, only nationals from Trinidad and Tobago would be allowed to enter this country.
The cabinet met this morning and has taken the decision that Trinidad and Tobago will cease to encourage and facilitate for the next 14 days entry into our country, except under exceptional circumstances, the entry of persons who are not nationals of Trinidad and Tobago.
Now that is something very good. I would agree with the Prime Minister concerning that. Caller, good night.
Hello,
Sorry, caller, we had something on your line there. We do apologize for that. The Prime Minister, however, explained that there would be some exemptions.
Exemptions can be had to that, as we must, but those exemptions will come from the Minister of Health through the Minister of National Security. For example, our CAFA workers, health personnel, and similar essential persons who we need will have to come in, and therefore such persons would be exempt. Other than that, we are basically disconnecting ourselves from the international community for the next 14 days.
Now, viewers, government has also taken the decision to close all schools and learning institutes for the rest of this term.
I want to mention that schools and places of learning will remain closed until the beginning of term 3, which is scheduled to begin on April 20th. When I spoke about the closure of school for a week, I said in the first instance, I am now returning to that issue, and as part of our national response, the schools will remain closed until the 20th of April.
Now, viewers, tonight is not about bashing. Tonight, according to the Prime Minister, presently in Trinidad and Tobago, we have a crisis. We have 4 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Trinidad and Tobago. What we need to do, we need to take precautions. We need to set ourselves an example for others, because you never know who could get the virus in what area. So precaution measures are in place. The government are trying their best. Now it now starts. But even though it now started, they should have thought about it before. Put things in place before. So when you hear an incident do occur, you already have a plan. It's just to put it in effect. Not go into planning when we already get bombed. But nevertheless, we are not against anyone tonight. I want to hear what you have to say and how will this impact you as we go along with our program tonight. Caller, good night.
Hello, good night.
Yes, go right ahead.
Mr. Saieed,
Yes?
the government is just fooling the citizens of this country.
Mm-hmm.
Nurses showing up at Cora, they were trained to use the face shield and the mask. When they reach to work, no face shield, no mask.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
No cups to give the patients the water to drink the medication, no, not even water.
Okay.
They're asking the family to bring the water.
This is in Cora Hospital.
Cora Hospital.
Presently.
Presently. And when they put on the mask, the head nurse say they're dealing with suspected cases, so they don't need to wear the face mask because it's short. They don't have enough, so don't use it. Only if you're dealing with the one person who they had, who they sure have, then you're getting the face shield. No mask. They don't even have toilet facilities for the nurses. One toilet broken, 2 leaking.
Wow.
When the nurse leaving in the night, She have to go to the male public toilet with lunch bag on one shoulder, handbag on the shoulder to squat over the seat to use the toilet. The suit that they're supposed to put on, when they finish with it, they don't know where to put it. No bags to put it in. They don't know either tie it up and leave it. They don't know what it is to do. But even the tablets they give in the people, they don't even have a little cup to put the tablet in. They have to just tear a piece of napkin, put it in it. So when the government telling the public they're ready, let the public know that is only a front. Nothing is ready.
All right. Now, caller, my question to you. How can you confirm this? I don't want to be biased. I give you a time. The world is listening. Now, how can we be sure this is what is taking place at Cora?
Okay, let me be very honest. A relative of mine work at Cora.
Okay.
Work at Cora, went there from another hospital, was called for duty, and decide, yes, I will go.
Okay.
Many nurses don't want to go, and those who go in, putting their life at risk. That is it.
Thank you, my dear, and thank you for being honest, because the public is listening, local and regional is listening, and I did what I was supposed to do, is find out how do you know of this. I thank you, my dear. The Prime Minister is also urging persons to prevent gathering of 25 persons or more.
Cabinet took a decision today that all bars will remain closed. Persons operating bars where people gather to drink and socialize, because our objective is to deny the virus connections from person to person. We are instructing that gatherings beyond 25 be avoided at all costs except under unavoidable circumstances.
Now, viewers, for those of you who missed out the live media coverage on various stations throughout Trinidad and Tobago, we have selected key points to bring to you, the viewers of Trinidad and Tobago, in case you missed it. You know, you're on work, you couldn't follow it up. So what we did at Real Talk, my staff, we put together the main points to let you, the citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, know what is taking place within the next 24 to 48 hours. According to the Prime Minister, several committees would be brought into action to address issues that may arise out of the closure of schools and business.
To ensure that we do what has to be done, to give us what is required to keep our economy going. We will want to do things that in themselves will not become the problem. And that is why the Cabinet today agreed that a certain number of committees that we had in the pipeline will now be activated to treat with our business in such a way that the necessaries will be available to ensure that we are responding in the best and most effective way.
Caller, good night.
Good night, Saeed.
Go right ahead.
I want to comment on the Prime Minister's press conference. The early part of it, I thought he was a Prime Minister for the whole of the country. But then when he was asked a question about bipartisan participation with the opposition, it turned into a demeanor that is representative of what Patrick Manning said. You remember what he said? A raging bull and wajang-like behavior. That is what I got out of that. Now, his committee members seems to be wanted. In particular, he identified a fella from KFC by the name of Mote. Remember, he did a one-man report about the sea bridge collapse? Nothing came out of that report, so it was a waste of time. So you put him back on a committee to bring a waste of time report again. one of the things this Prime Minister is trying to do is pull wool over our eyes. For 4 years, this economy has been failing. And he wants, as a number of people say, to commingle the government's failure to govern this country with the COVID-19. And people must not lose sight of that. And more importantly, there is something called recent bias. When there's annual appraisal with high officials and company, some of them try to fool the appraiser so that he will remember the good things they do just before appraisal and forget the awful things they did early in the year.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you, my friend. I understand what you're saying. He said the government is looking at the heritage and stabilization funds to keep the country running.
As I said, we have some strengths. One of the strengths that we have is our Heritage and Stabilization Fund. That is what we loosely call our rainy day fund. There are dark clouds with us. And of course, if this is not a rainy day, I don't know what is. Because we are threatened in a very serious way. And how we use the resources of this fund will be a matter that will be spoken about in the very near future.
Now, I love how he said that. There's a dark cloud over us, we are in a rainy day, and how we use our funds. How we use our funds. I love how he said that. So before I go all up in the air, Health Minister Terence Dayal Singh said from the time the travel ban was first imposed, government was given time to prepare.
What we have done, this bought us a month and a half of time, so that right now, instead of climbing Mount Everest with no oxygen, we are now climbing the central range. It's flatter, it's more even, and we are able to cope. That is called flattening the curve. Because if we did not do that and give us time at the ministry, because I'm responsible for policy, strategy, and resource allocation, and set up a parallel health system from January 30th to now, it means our current health system would have been overburdened.
My question to you, Trinidad and Tobago. When the opposition was asking the Speaker of the House to discuss about the virus that is plaguing the world, she did not find it fit to discuss the matter. If they did discuss the matter about 2 or 3 weeks back, they would have had enough time to put everything in place, not last minute checks and balance and points. About 2 or 3 weeks back, they would have had enough time to put everything in place for a pandemic in case it hit Trinidad and Tobago. All the time the Couva Hospital was not in a status to function, all of a sudden they have 250 beds and it's ready to function. I telling all of that. From the minister's mouth it came out. Hold on. Government, yes, I'm going to read it back for you. Health Minister Terence Dayal Singh said from the time the travel ban was first imposed, government was given time to prepare. Run the video, let the people them listen.
What we have done, This bought us a month and a half of time, so that right now, instead of climbing Mount Everest with no oxygen, we are now climbing the central range. It's flatter, it's more even, and we are able to cope. That is called flattening the curve. Because if we did not do that and give us time at the ministry, because I'm responsible for policy, strategy, and resource allocation, and set up a parallel health system from January 30th to now, it means our current health system would have been overburdened.
Policy, strategies, and funding. Policies, strategies, and funding. If you did think about that, when you now come into government, let me tell you something. We might have the Couva Hospital functioning. We might have hospital in Trinidad in a better state. So you can't come and bruise my head with your fancy big words. Because I'm living in Trinidad and I know the state of it. Minister Dialsing said during that time, the government, the Couva and Cora Hospital have been outfitted to deal with COVID-19.
AREMA now has the capacity to give me 77 extra beds. So I have 82 at Couva right now. I have 48 at Cora right now. I will have 77 at AREMA within 24 to 48 hours. What we have done with that time has been able now to identify Couva, operationalize Couva as of Friday gone. Our first set of patients went in there, and build capacity at Cora. It has also allowed us, because I gave instructions to UDCOT over the weekend, to reprogram the way work in AREMA is being done. So instead of going on with AREMA for a nice ribbon cutting ceremony with the Prime Minister and everything looks nice, AREMA has been reprogrammed to give me beds.
Now listen to this. The minister said at present there are approximately 300 beds at various places across the country which can be used.
AREMA now has the capacity to give me 77 extra beds. So I have 82 at Couva right now. I have 48 at Cora right now. I will have 77 at AREMA within 24 to 48 hours, with more coming on stream. And if need be, the Minister of National Security will give me 50 beds at Napa, because as you know, Napa has a hotel there. So we have in the pipeline close to 300 beds we could utilize within the shortest period of time.
Now viewers, I'm going to ask a question. If COVID-19 did not hit Trinidad and Tobago, do you think we would have had 300 extra beds available? Why wait for something to hit Trinidad, then rush to make space? I'm not bashing, you know, but this is something you, the citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, ask yourself that. Ask yourself that. What could have been back then? What could have been back then with proper planning? You do it, you want to rush it down now in a couple of days because we have a virus hitting Trinidad without a cure, and you want the public to panic. I tell you, I just get my calls, you know. I just get my calls. I am always up to date with what is taking place in my island of Trinidad because I am a citizen. Minister Dialsing said, when it comes to testing kits, we have more than enough at the moment. Wait, don't go to the video. Hold on. How much is enough? 3,000 kits? I just asking a question. Is 3,000 kits enough in Trinidad? when in less than 2 weeks, about 10 days, we have 4 cases. Keep in mind, other countries, people are falling ill. Keep in mind, the US have to keep kits for themselves. Keep in mind, China have to keep kits for themselves. Keep in mind, Europe have to keep kits for themselves. Italy have to keep kits for themselves. I just want to find out if 3,000 kits is enough in Trinidad under a virus that is killing people worldwide. Run with the video now.
I spoke with Dr. Joyce and John last night. We currently have 3,000 test kits in Trinidad and Tobago, which is more than enough, and we have a few thousand more coming in. So as far as resource allocation, we have the bed capacity, we have the ICU capacity, we have the testing capacity.
Now viewers, I'm not bashing tonight, you know, but I'm giving all your pointers. Pointers. Where the hospital could have been better off 2 years back, 3 years back. You wait for now, they're squeezing something. You're squeezing here and you're squeezing. Use the Minister of Policies, Strategies, and you could allocate funds. What happened to the last 4 years gone by? You see, I'm paying close attention to what you're saying. Because if the public ain't paying attention to you, I am. Because I became a public figure to represent the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Because we were going down a slope where people were afraid to come out and talk. Every time they come out and talk, somebody pat them down. You come out and talk, somebody pat them down. Pat this down and you're going to see it might explode in your face. This could have been, we could have had this 2-3 years gone by. But nevertheless, it's just pointers are showing all you. I understand that we are in a crisis. I understand that we need to come together. I understand that. But what you putting together now, you could have put that together about 3-4 years back. That is my point. Even the UNC members, they're willing to come together to work with the present government. Ms. Pasal Bisesa said, put aside politics. And let's see about the people, the citizen. Finance Minister Colin Imbert predicts a future decline in the country's revenue. Hold on. Keep in mind, this is the same individual who said we are having a boom in Trinidad and Tobago and the economy is turning around. Boom! Petrol train closed down. You know, I plan tonight not to be a mash-up Monday, you know. I plan tonight to hear from the callers what and how would this 14 days ban on the closures of bars and schools and restrictions in certain places, how it would affect you, you know. I plan that tonight, never too late, we could still do it. But when I see these things, and I hear how they're talking, this is the same minister who said, we booming, and we booming, and we booming, and boom, the refinery closed down. Boom, it closed down. Now he is saying, further decline in the country's revenue. So the country's revenue start not now. Not now. It start before the virus hit Trinidad. You can't fool all the people all the time. Oh, I'd like to say a special good night to my friend Coralal. A very informative individual. He's always locked on. Run with the column in Budvid.
Based on our calculations so far, in terms of what has happened to oil prices and gas prices, we expect to lose 4.5 billion. This has changed between last week and this week. We now expect to lose $4.5 billion. And if I put up the next slide, this gives you an idea of how, this was the 3.5 I spoke about, but then when you factor in green fund and unemployment levy, another billion goes. We lose $1 billion, so we're now at 4.5. This takes minus 4.5. This takes no account of the slowdown in business activity and the natural decline in activity that will take place as a result of the precautions that other honorable members have spoken about. If I have to make my best estimate of what will happen, we will lose over $5 billion in revenue.
Well, I think what joke I was making. Business started to drop before COVID-19. Coronavirus. Before it hit Trinidad, business was going down. So like the caller said, don't allow this little thing to switch all you. You know, you're going up north, go up north. Don't let a man coming down blinking a light cause you to turn around. Because you know if he light shorting while coming down back to you. For some of you, all might say, go outside, you know, the virus coming, you have to think what thing you will put in place. How long I telling all you? If we have one case in Trinidad and Tobago, what would happen? Mr. Colin Boot, come to tell the nation how much we would lose. How much we already lost in the years gone by. How much we already lost when the refinery closed down. When the refinery closed down, a lot of people lose their house, their land, their car, their children couldn't go to school, they couldn't afford their UE, they couldn't afford their medicine. Some killed themselves. But now you want to come to show a decline of you're losing $4 billion. How much we lose for the last 4 years? So what I would say is that don't let, or don't use the option of the virus. You should have come out and tell the public how much we lose for the last 4 years, or how much we gained for the last 4 years. Health Minister Terence Dialsing said the COVID-19 hotline should be ready by Wednesday or Thursday. He said the phones have already been brought and staff is currently being trained. You see? All you wait for a bomb to drop and then you're teaching a man how to hold a gun. You wait for the bomb to drop before you tell a man where to go and get this. Tell him where to go and get this, where to go and get that, where to go on the next. So by the time the bomb drop, you would know exactly where to run. You now training. So for the House Speaker, all is not important. Citizens of Trinidad, not important. As for now, 10 doctors will be assigned to the hotline. And we're moving on. We have a call? Sorry, caller. Good night.
Good night, Mr. Ali.
Go right ahead.
Mr. Ali, the government, they are saying that try your best not to assemble in large crowd, over 15. But remember, when you have a PSC bus running from Port of Spain to San Fernando, carrying around 80 passengers, taking around 2 hours and a half to reach the destination. What in an AC bus, what did happen? The same, it goes from Port of Spain to Stanley Grande. Over 25-meter maxi taxi with all these people in the bus.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you, my friend. I understand what you're saying. I want all you to understand what I'm saying. I am not going against the measures, you know. But you see, the thing is, before the speaker say, that is not. How she said again? She didn't find it fit to have a discussion over it. Now you're rushing down the line. Everybody just preach prevention better than cure. But you wait till the virus hit you. Now to run and put things in place and to run and have meeting and to run and put beds. We wanted beds for the last 4 years. The country was losing money the last 4 years. When he said boom, a bomb really dropped. Call a good night.
Very good evening to you, Saeed.
To you, my friend.
I agree with almost everything you said tonight.
Thank you.
But however, I want to be a little mellow tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I am hoping and praying that the Ministry of Health, after this virus is over and finished, hopefully, very soon, that they pay the same amount of attention to the Ministry of Health and the hospital. Same amount of attention, Oliver.
Thank you, my friend. You see, I am not against putting things in place. Like I said, tonight I wanted to hear what you had to say, how this would affect you. But when you hear speeches like this, it is change your angle. All these things could have been in place before. You now training staff to use a hotline. Let we hope none of them may say call back. Are busy. Let we hope so. All 4 of TNT COVID-19 case are said to be improving. Let's just wait to see. They were improving in China also. That includes the second confirmed patient who had previously been described as being critically ill. An update on their conditions came today from Dr. Michelle Trotman. During a post-cabinet briefing, also speaking with Chief Medical Officer Dr. Roshan Parashram, who confirmed that the 2 most recent confirmed cases were in fact imported from outside TNT. Well, Guyana said them cases came from Trinidad. Canada said one of their cases come from Trinidad. He would not, however, say where they were imported from. Banks will be asked to defer payment for persons impacted financially by the COVID-19 pandemic. Well done. Caller, good night.
Hi, good night.
Go right ahead.
Yes, I am listening to the program and I am appalled. Because I am listening to the Toronto news, I'm looking at the news in Germany and all over the world, and all the governments have formed committees to deal with the thing at hand. Are putting things in place, beds, hospitals, everything in place. And I see nothing wrong in the government in Trinidad and Tobago doing it as well. Why are you all so mischievous?
All right, let me ask you a question. Caller, let me ask you a question right there. Let me ask you something right there. All around the world, they're putting things in place. You see the healthcare outside Trinidad and Tobago, I personally know about it. I personally know about it. All this time they're saying Cuba can't open. It can't open. There was this, there was that, there was the next. All on a sudden, in a week time, Cuba have 250 beds and ready to function. You think about that. You think about that. Colin Imbert now come out now on a big draft saying we would lose $45 billion. What the country lost in the last 4 years gone. This is the same minister that said Trinidad and Tobago economy is turning around. What happened? It turned around indeed. Not for the better, but for the worse. Like I said, I am not against the ministers putting things in place. About a week, almost 2 weeks back, the same speaker said this virus that is hitting us presently is not a topic up for discussion. Right around the world, they're discussing about it. But in Trinidad, it's not important. So you follow the key factors that I gave you as a human being in Trinidad. And you tell me what you come up with. You tell me what you come up with. You see, all I bring to you is the facts and nothing else but the facts. As a minister or as a ministry, when you realize something traveling from one country to the next country to the next country, you start planning in case. In case it should happen, we have this here. In case it should happen, it have this here. In case it should happen, it have this here. Let me tell you something. Jamaica was on red alert. Jamaica was on red alert, and they are dealing with it. In Trinidad, we now putting things in place. You know why? Because we thought it would not hit us. We thought that we're invisible. All the time I was telling all the Jamaica on red alert. They are being prepared for it. While it is not a discussion up, a topic, not up for discussion, Jamaica was in red alert. Because they knew how serious it could be, because they are following the outsiders. Prevention is better than cure. So you want to know I making mischief, I causing mischievous? The hospital started there 4 years now. Nobody didn't know it had 250 beds. Last week we got to know it had 250 beds. So how the hell the hospital didn't open all the time? And again, he could allocate funds for the health sector. Why you didn't do that when they received your assignment to be the Minister of Health? Why you didn't do that? You know what happening? When the horse out the stable, you want to feed the horse. I'm talking about prevention better than cure here. Not get sick and then get cure, because there is no cure for it. So don't call to tell me I causing mischief. I telling you what could have been before it happened. So when they stop all boats from coming in now, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? You tell me. Who coming on the boat? Not foreigners? This tell when Allah come good wrong side, you know. Come good, you know. Because as a man ain't taking no foolishness from nobody, you know. For the last 2 weeks I've been saying, if one case should hit us, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? No precautions. Nothing was put in place in case something should happen like this. You see, I the kind of person is like to put prevention better than cure. The Prime Minister, Dr. Rowley, says the sector will be approached, this is the bank sector, with this proposal as the government seeks to minimize the fallout from recent local restrictions. Dr. Rowley is also calling on landlords to be sympathetic to tenants who may not be able to pay their rent due to the circumstances linked to the pandemic. Now, I will tell you something. I would agree with the Prime Minister. For the tenants and them, to be sympathetic with them. Because at the end of the day, the individuals are working to pay to keep a roof over their heads. But keep in mind, the tenants may be owing for the bank or to the bank. So what if now the bank cannot defer payments for a person impacted financially? What if? I'm just saying, what if? But let's just hope that they could bend some of their rules because of the pandemic, of the emergency that is hitting us. I have to say emergency because 4 people got it. 4 people. And it's only when these 4 individuals say yes, they are fully recovered, well then I will believe that. It's not about false news. Oh, before we move on, persons of interest, Sadro Mohammed. You have him, guys? Sadro Mohammed, Julia Maraj, and Justin Williams. Justin Williams there? Yes, that's him. Justin Williams, anybody knew this individual? He's from Tobago. Would you let him know, or would you let his mother know that Real Talk, that collection department would like to have a word with them, please? These 3 individuals, Sadro Mohammed, Julia Maraj, and Justin Williams. So as we continue tonight, viewers, we have a call on line. Caller, good night.
Yeah, hello, good night.
Go right ahead.
Yeah, I have 3 points. First one, I don't know how they're coming up with this 2 weeks thing and this 3 weeks thing, and also I think this thing has now begun in that, so you don't know how long it will last. That's the first point. Second point is that the borders, we know the situation in Venezuela right now.
Yes.
And people who seeking aid in that way, they can't get it there, they can be sneaking in through the borders and coming in. So we don't know how far this could go. And then the police, they can be contaminated when they put them in the holding center and whatever. Then that is second. The third point is the school is being interrupted. We don't know how long that will go for. And they're digging in the funds and so on, but they need to cater for the parents who cannot afford to buy computers so that the children will not get told back, so that the school can still be functional in some way or the other. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, my friends. Now, the government is trying to prevent the spread of the virus by making sure self-quarantine themselves to stay away. But you see, all around the world, they are asking people to stay at home. They do not have a cure for it. So they are asking individuals to stay away. But I gotta tell you something. How long can you stay away for? We are facing an emergency. I have to say emergency because a couple days back we had 1 and 2. Today we have 4. From now to the end of the week, we have no idea what the numbers could be like. Because I have been following CNN, BBC, all the networks. And it is serious. So I don't blame the government for trying now. But what I'm saying is that we could have had this covered before it hit us. Before. Now you're squeezing the hospitals, you're squeezing the health centers, you want to squeeze the people to stay home. Some have mortgages. Let me tell you something. If the bank decide, you know what, we're not defined from that, what's going to happen? We're talking about a worst case scenario here now. 1 case is too much for Trinidad. Because we only have 1.4, close to 1.4 million people. And 1 case of that virus, COVID-19, is too much. But you know what? We have 4. I hope to God it doesn't cross 4. Because I know the serious impact of it. Because I am in communication with businessmen and ministers outside of Trinidad and Tobago. So this is why I'm getting on like this. Jamaica was on red alert before it started in the Caribbean. Because they saw what was going on. And they started to prep themselves. Down here, it's not important. So, Tanti, don't call me to ask me what mischief I'm making. Don't call me to ask me that. Nobody didn't know how much bed Couva Hospital have. So the bed and them, they packed down, rusty in. Minister of Finance now balling, now saying we're going to lose 4 to 5 billion. How much we lose in the years gone by? Now we want to use the virus to say, well, we're going to lose this. And we, come now, man. Or they're sleeping. Tanti, all the time you was sleeping. Because you probably went in the hospital and had to stand up a whole day and you can't complain because you have nobody for you to go to. Persons were forced to stand in long lines outside the Port of St. Magistrate Court this morning. This as members of the public and prisoners were screened as they entered the court. From as early as 8 a.m., court managers, along with nurses and security guards, interviewed the public entering the court from the main entrance of the court. People were asked if they had any flu-like symptoms before entering. Even when they were allowed to enter, persons were being given hand sanitizers before going into their respective courts. There were similar procedures in places at the prisoners' loading bay where prisoners were screened before entering. They were screened by the security guards. I understand the seriousness of this. Like I keep telling you all for the past 2 weeks, if one case should enter, what would happen? We had nothing in place. Nothing. Now the government now scrambling to put things in place now. Overnight meeting. They want to squeeze everything in now. That is my point. While I was talking about it 2 weeks back, I showed you all twice the speaker turned down motions to have discussions on it. Because we thought it would never touch us. We invisible. Now we want to squeeze in. Well, I hope the squeezing in, really work for us. I really hope it worked for us. Caller, good night.
Good night.
Go right ahead.
Yes, I want to find out about the situation with the hospitals.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're putting these people in the public hospitals, like the ICU and stuff, together with the other patients, what would be the situation?
Very good question. Very good question. And I would like that to go straight to the Minister of Health. I wonder if Tanti could answer that. I wonder if Tanti could answer that. You have another call? Caller, good night.
Yeah, good night, Saeed.
Go right ahead.
Saeed, that virus, China is the whole one to be blamed by because China created that virus, right? And it looked like they lego that in the atmosphere, right? That's how they said the Sahara dust blowing in the Sahara desert, right? That blowing and coming down right through the Caribbean.
Cover. We have to cover our noses for the Sahara. Just imagine, look where that dust is, quite in the Sahara desert. And we in Trinidad, let's get effects of it. Viewers, watch me. I had a packed program here tonight, you know. Packed program, you know. I wanted to find out how this 14 days lockdown would affect you. But when you hear people Listen, I said bad. When you hear we have ministers and authority speaking like that, from the time it hit Canada, from China to Canada, I started to talk about the virus. I started to talk about it. I started to inform all you. I started to keep all you up to date. According to the Prime Minister in a media briefing today, he said, look at Italy. Italy healthcare is top. And they had over 500 deaths. And they're top. We don't hear people dying on the corridors. They're collapsing on the corridor. They're fainting away. Some waiting days for beds. Like a bashing the health sector out. He could allocate funds. Pull back the video. We have time. Tanti called to ask me all the time. Tanti didn't know the minister could allocate funds, you know, but tonight she know it. Tonight Tanti know it. That the Minister of Health. After 4 years and some months, he come out now and say he could allocate funds. He's for policy, he's for strategy, he's for funds. So Tanti, you hear what your minister had to say. So all the time the health sector could have been better. So don't call Saieed to tell Saieed a choking mischief. You finally hear it with your own ears. And you see it too. You see it too. You didn't just hear it. You see it. You watch him said it.
I spoke with Dr.
If they had discussion about this about 2 weeks or 3 weeks back, when the speaker said she don't seem fit to discuss, we would have everything in place. But we're invisible in Trinidad. You see, this is what has made Saieed Ali, and this is what has made real talk, real talk. Because there's nothing else but the facts are bringing to all you. If you all getting this on any other station, call me live on TV and tell me that. Viewers, we are out of time for tonight. Our rerun of this program is at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Remember, our live show is from Monday to Friday from 7 to 8 p.m. Those of you who want to see me or want to get in contact with me, 339-1670 or 238-6716. This is where you call and mash up Monday. It's facts to you, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. And you all heard it from the minister's mouth themselves. We're not going in, we are losing $4 or $5 billion. We had 4 years, that may be double that already. But nevertheless, we have the minister admitting he's the minister of policy, strategies, and could get finance. 4 years gone and what happened? But, Tanti, wake up and smell the coffee. Viewers, be safe. Enjoy the night, protect yourself, and don't go among the crowds. Good night.